Russia has lost more than 3,000 tanks in Ukraine, the equivalent of its entire pre-war active stockpile. However, Russia has had enough low-quality armored vehicles in its arsenal for replacement over the years. Ukraine has also suffered heavy losses since Russia invaded in February 2022, but the addition of military power from the West allows Ukraine to maintain its weapons stockpile while improving the quality. It was an analysis submitted by the International Institute for Strategic Studies, IISS. Even after losing so many tanks, including some 1,120 last year, Russia still has twice as many tanks available for combat as Ukraine, the IISS said in its annual military balance sheet. Henry Boyd, senior research fellow at the Institute for Military Capabilities, said Russia had roughly broken even in terms of replacements. "I estimate Russia has deployed about 1,000 to 1,500 more tanks in the past year," he said. "But of these," he said, "at most 200 units are new units, and most are old model units that have been refurbished." Moscow has been able to exchange quality for quantity by pulling thousands of old tanks out of storage, at a rate that sometimes reaches 90 tanks per month, the report said. Russia's stockpiled supplies mean Moscow has the potential to incur heavy losses for another 3 years and replenish tanks from stock, even if the technical standards are lower. Despite its ability to produce new equipment, almost 2 years of conflict ensued. Ukraine and its Western partners faced a very difficult choice. IISS senior ground warfare analyst Ben Barry said Ukraine had tried to protect some of its young troops, whose average infantryman age is reportedly in their early 40s, but might find it difficult to keep doing so. They are deliberately protecting their young generation, but to what extent they can do that in the future, it is doubtful whether they can maintain their frontline strength, he said. Ukraine, which failed to make headway in last year's counteroffensive and has just replaced its popular commander Valery Zaluzhny, is also in desperate need of new artillery supplies and air defense systems, pending a major new aid package from the U.S. that has been implemented, opposed by the Republican opposition. The governments of Western countries are once again in a position where they have to decide whether to equip Kyiv with enough weapons to launch a decisive attack, and not just so as not to lose, said IISS Director General Bastian Giedrich. Russia, for its part, has put its economy on a war footing and transferred defense factories to round-the-clock production in 3 shifts. "This is an astonishing number," said Singapore-based defense analyst Alexander Neil, referring to the estimated loss of 3,000 tanks. "It's an astonishing number," said Singapore-based defense analyst Alexander Neil, referring to the estimated loss of 3,000 tanks. "Some of these may be older tanks, so one of the big questions is how many of the most advanced tanks are left for future major offensives," added Neil, an assistant at the Hawaii Pacific Forum think tank. Given the losses suffered by both sides and the draining nature of trench warfare, IISS experts say the current standoff is likely to continue. Neither side can carry out a large-scale attack without inflicting very large casualties, and this is likely to continue for the foreseeable future, Barry, an IISS ground warfare analyst, said in a statement.